If you're ambitious but lazy, please watch this. Alright, so picture this. You've got this goal, this awesome vision in your head, but for some reason, you just can't seem to get yourself to actually do the stuff you need to do to make it happen. And it's like, it almost doesn't make sense, right? How can you want something so bad? I totally get that feeling. I know how pumped you probably get just thinking about that thing, you know, living that life, being that person, having that freedom, all that good stuff. It's like, it gives you this rush, this awesome adrenaline. It makes you feel alive, right? You get goosebumps just picturing it. So how can you want it that badly and still just, like, not be willing to do what you gotta do? And it's not like the things you need to do are, like, super hard or some big mystery. Everyone knows what to do, right? All the info is right there online. You can find a million YouTube videos on how to do pretty much anything. Start any kind of business, learn to be an artist, learn to be a chef, seriously, you can learn anything online these days. So it's not about the how, it's about the will. Where do you find that willpower? Clearly, it's not gonna be motivation, because motivation doesn't beat out laziness, you know. Motivation is temporary. That's why when you think about your goal, your vision, you might get all fired up, and, you know, you might grind at it for a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month. But then you burn out, and you're right back to square one. It's just this endless, awful cycle, right? So, what gives? What needs to change? How do we find that willpower? Finding willpower, overcoming inaction to achieve your goals. 1. The importance of internal change. See, a lot of us are way too focused on all the stuff that's going on out here, you know. External stuff, right? And when the real world doesn't match up with what we want in our heads, it leaves us feeling frustrated, confused, exhausted, discouraged, basically, a whole bunch of crap we don't want to feel. But here's the thing, what really needs to happen is we gotta embody the person we want to be on the inside. We need to get into their mindset, adopt their way of thinking. We gotta copy their actions. Then, naturally, the outside world will just kinda start to reflect that. Now, you've probably heard this before, like, you gotta adopt the mindset first, right? But I really want to drive something home here, cause a lot of people go about this the totally wrong way. You gotta really immerse yourself in this, like, it's a whole process. This isn't just saying a few positive affirmations, meditating for 10 minutes, and calling it a day. No, this is like, you gotta rework your whole internal system here. It's a deep-rooted thing, because what you're asking to change is you, your identity, who you are, right? But here's the good news, once you actually make this change, you've pretty much won. Seriously, that's the hard part. Everything else just kind of falls into place, cause all life is a reflection of what's going on in your head. So if you can get this right, if you can align this with what you really want, everything else will just sort itself out. 2. Techniques for self-reflection and growth. But I want to really emphasize something here, cause a lot of folks get this totally wrong. You gotta fully commit to this, like, dive deep. It's a super involved process. This ain't just saying some positive affirmations and meditating for, like, 10 minutes and thinking you're done. Nah, this is like a full-on internal system reboot. I'm talking a deep-rooted issue, cause what you're trying to change is you, your core identity, right? But, good news. Once you actually make this change, you've basically won. Seriously, that's the hardest part. Everything else just kind of falls into place after that, because life is basically just a reflection of what's going on inside your head. So, if you can nail this part, if you can align your inner self with what you truly desire, everything else will just sort itself out. So, yeah, I just want to make that super clear, you gotta really immerse yourself in this. Personally, I did this through a kind of self-hypnosis thing. I'd isolate my mind, you know. Turn off all the lights, get rid of any distractions, make sure it was totally quiet, and just get into this super relaxed state where everything around me just kind of faded away. This let me really focus all my energy inward, you know. It gave me the ability to look deep into my subconscious, like, why I did certain things, what I really wanted out of life, why I wanted those things, what was really holding me back. What did I need to change about myself right now to become the person I wanted to be? That kind of stuff. And I could just, like, hyperfixate on these things in that state. What I realized was, when you really isolate yourself, your mind, and you put yourself face to face with your weaknesses, the things you gotta change, the things you need to improve on to become that person you're aiming for, you change fast. Like, you evolve at a speed you wouldn't even think is possible. And honestly, that's the only way to really do it. 3. Overcoming distractions in modern life. But, see, most of us are way too distracted, on our phones, watching TV or YouTube, or who knows what else. Going to the club, partying, whatever, I don't know. Playing video games, the list just goes on and on. We're living in a world full of distractions and temptations. Seriously, I'd say like 99% of people don't give themselves any time during the day to even think about this stuff, let alone actually do it. So, you've got all these people saying they want to change, they've got this goal, but they don't get why they can't make any progress. And it's like, you know, when you look at it this way, it's almost laughable. It makes no sense. How can you expect to change if you're not giving yourself any time each day to figure out what needs changing? So, I want you to understand something, the most powerful tool you've got is self-reflection. And patience, too. The longer you can just sit with yourself and really be with yourself. Every answer, every question you have, all that information is inside you. It's nowhere else. You're not gonna find it in a YouTube video or a book. I mean, YouTube and books are great, don't get me wrong. They're useful, but not for this. What we're trying to do here is rewire our internal programming. We gotta tear down that crappy foundation we're standing on and rebuild it to match the foundation we need to become that awesome thing we're aiming for. You're not gonna get that from YouTube or a book or talking to some guru. It's gotta come from within. It's an internal process. Does that make sense? And by extension, for that internal process to really work, to really take hold, you gotta isolate yourself. You gotta immerse yourself in it. 4. Practical steps for self-discovery. You know, I'm having a little trouble, like, really putting this into words perfectly, but I feel like you're probably getting the gist of what I'm saying. But I do promise you, if you try this, just give it a week, okay? Give it a week and see where you end up. Carve out an hour each day, ditch all the distractions, turn off the lights, and just focus on your breathing. Ask yourself, what do I really want? What kind of person do I want to be? How do they act? What's their life like? What drives them? What are their values? Do any of those things clash with who I am right now? Why? Are those differences rooted in something from my past? How can I change or improve those things? You know, it's like, you just gotta keep asking yourself questions. That's really all there is to it. It's super simple. It's not rocket science. Just be with yourself, ask yourself questions, and listen to your own answers. You'll naturally be guided down the right path, I promise. And you'll gain this whole new perspective, like it opens up a whole new dimension of life. And we are getting down whatever road now. But your problem isn't laziness. Your problem is you're not listening to yourself. You're constantly distracted, constantly preoccupied. You need to just tune into yourself, you know. And figure out who you want to be. Like I said before, all reality is just a reflection of what's going on inside your head. So that's your top priority, getting your inner world sorted out. Laziness is just a symptom, it's not even relevant at that point. Laziness is such a surface-level thing. That's not the deep, underlying reason why you're stuck. You're not listening to yourself, that's the root cause. So, dedicate, like, even just an hour a day to just being alone, in a quiet space. Isolate your mind. Figure out your vision. Who do you want to become? How do they act? How do they do things? What's different between them and you right now? What's holding you back? What do you need to change? The more you sit with yourself, the more these answers will just, like, appear. Like I said, you'll grow faster than you ever thought possible. 2. How to overcome procrastination and achieve success. 1. Transitioning from ambition to action. Alright, now I'm gonna show you exactly how to crush it and become successful by killing procrastination. The very first step to any kind of success, in any part of your life, is taking action. Not just binging YouTube videos, which you probably already know by now. So I'm gonna show you exactly how to be in control of yourself, on demand. So if you want to get that business work done, you're gonna go ahead and do it. If you want to go crush that school work, you're gonna crush it. If you don't want to get sucked into social media or any other addiction that's holding you back, you're not gonna do it. I'm gonna show you in this video exactly how to control yourself like that, which is the most important skill you can have to become successful. So buckle up, because this might just change your life. I used to be super ambitious too, but I couldn't control myself. And I don't think there's any worse feeling than having this huge ambition, this massive goal, and then not actually putting in any work towards it. It's the worst feeling in the world, right? Always putting it off, always putting it off, always scrolling through social media, all that crap. And I know exactly how you feel. But I got out, and I want to show you exactly how to get to this place where I'm charging towards my goals with total resilience. And once you get there, you're gonna realize, holy crap, this way of living is so much more fulfilling than my old life. I used to always be chasing that dopamine hit, but now I can be totally content in the present moment, working on stuff, creating stuff. There's no better feeling. And I want you to experience that too. So, we're gonna start with the next step. It's basic, but it's super, super important. 2. Step-by-step guide to overcoming procrastination. It's about gradually increasing your effort over time. See, this whole procrastination thing isn't gonna be fixed overnight. There's actually a part of your brain that's responsible for discipline, and to build that discipline, you gotta work it out slowly, just like a muscle. If you go too hard too fast, you'll burn out and fail in the short term. So all these extreme dopamine detoxes and monk modes, throw that stuff out the window. It's not gonna help you, not really, because that's just jumping into the deep end. Instead, we want to gradually ease into it over time. That's the basic idea. We had to get that out there before we dive into the real nitty-gritty. 3. Visualization and identity modeling. Alright, let's do a quick exercise together, right here, right now. So, I want you to picture yourself in your ideal state, where you're naturally drawn to the work, and those bad habits just don't have a hold on you. You feel this natural barrier between you and those bad habits, and it's amazing, man. You're working all the time, you're creating stuff, you're crushing it in school or making huge strides in your business or passion project. Just imagine how good that feels. Okay, now shift your focus from the outside world to your inner world. Who are you, as a person, in this ideal state? I want you to picture this person as you, right now. Take their traits, their personality, and infuse them into your own being. Now, this is a quick process I like to call identity modeling. So, you're taking your future identity, your him state, where you're grinding super hard on your goals, where you're listening to that inner voice that's telling you to work harder, that voice that's telling you to drop the drugs, ditch the devices, and you're laser focused on your goals. You're listening to that voice, not the one that wants instant gratification and all that dopamine. So, you're modeling the character you want to become. And I get it, this might sound kinda out there if you're new to this channel or if it's the first time you've heard this idea. You're probably like, identity modeling. What the heck? But just trust me on this. Over time, as you keep visualizing this character, as you keep infusing yourself with their personality and beliefs, you won't just feel it during the visualization, you'll start feeling it all day long. You'll start actually becoming that person you want to be. And that's the magic of visualization and slowly rewiring your brain over time. 4. The Power of Affirmations. So, I was on the phone with my mom, like, a year or so ago, and she was going on about affirmations. She was like, "Luke, I saw this article where this girl would stand in front of the mirror every day and tell herself, 'I love myself.'" And, at first, it sounded totally cheesy. But apparently, by the end of it, she actually wasn't depressed anymore. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, Mom, whatever." But now, I actually see the real power of affirmations and how important they are when you're trying to become a specific kind of person. 'Cause here's the thing, you don't want to just change your habits and not change yourself. You gotta change yourself, and then your habits change as a result. So if we can embody that character we want to become, and there's this thing I call your him state, that higher level thinking that wants you to create and move away from all those vices, then it becomes way easier to achieve any external goal you want. 5. Aligning actions with goals. Because once you become the kind of person who makes $10,000 a month, you're gonna get that $10,000 a month. And the only thing holding back someone whose identity is aligned with that 10K from actually getting that 10K is just time. Usually, it takes around 6 months to a year to hit that $10,000 a month mark once you've fully embodied the character who's in sync with that kind of income. And if you're not sure what alignment means, just think about all the things you gotta do to reach that $10,000 a month without procrastinating. Think about all those actions. Those are the actions that align you with that goal. And you want to pack as many of those actions into your daily routine as possible. And you already know what those actions are, right? Obviously, all you're doing right now is procrastinating. I see so many people saying, "I don't know where to start." The start is in all those YouTube videos you've been watching. You know that dropshipping tutorial? It's telling you to research products. So, step number 1, research products. You know exactly where to start, dude. You're just being lazy as fuck and listening to that lower level voice that's telling you to chill on the couch and smoke weed all the time. You don't want to be listening to that voice, 'cause that voice is aligned with the exact outcome you don't want. So, as I was saying, affirmations are absolutely key. You gotta do them every single day. 3. Conclusion, embracing the journey of change. It's just, you gotta start doing it. All this other stuff is just noise and distraction. You are your answer. So, hopefully, that hit home and made some sense to you guys. Keep me posted on your progress, I actually read the comments. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, 'cause every single one of my videos tackles a deep issue or topic in the self-improvement world. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.